Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Giant Mess, the super sloppy sports and entertainment talk show. It covers Giants football, Mets baseball, movies, TV shows, and a whole lot more. It's hosted by Giant Mess. That's me, the Real Cinch Neal Lynch, former college quarterback and pitcher turned psycho. On today's episode, it's all Giants all the time, at least for the duration of this pod. Giants made a lot of moves, and free agency hasn't even technically officially started yet. I guess that's when I'm very confused by all that, but hopefully we can work through it together. Saquon Barkley signing with the Eagles, signing Devin Singletary from the Texans, Tyrod signs with the Jets. We signed Drew Lock from the Seahawks. John Runyon Jr., former Packer, is now a New York Football Giant, former Las Vegas Raider. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's from London, Jersey boy. We got him to reunite with Carmen Brasillo. We signed Isaiah McKenzie. We let Xavier McKinney walk, signing with those cheeseheads up north. We traded for a guy who calls himself Spider-Man, Brian Burns, lauded pass rusher from the Carolina Panthers. Some are saying we fleeced the Panthers. We also signed defensive back Jalen Mills, a safety who can play corner, but is probably better at safety. So we'll go over all the ins and outs of free agency, moving fast, hot and heavy, and then we'll look at how this affects the plans for Daniel Jones. How does this affect our strategy heading into the 2024 NFL draft? So without further ado, let's get it started up in here. Okay, so this is where I'm getting confused by free agency. On Monday at noon, teams are permitted to contact and enter into contract negotiations with the certified agents of players who become unrestricted free agents upon the expiration of their 2023 player contracts at 4 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, March 13th. That's when free agency officially begins. So we haven't even hit, as I record, we haven't even friggin' hit March 13th, 4 o'clock. I'm recording this on Tuesday night, March 12th. So what I'm curious about is how the hell are all these deals being announced mere hours after it, like this contract negotiations began, like contact and negotiations. And within 2 hours, we're getting like a shit ton of contracts being announced. Is that quick? Yeah. That's where I'm like, I call bullshit on the whole process, the whole system. Because it's like, dude, what are you talking about? You're telling me within 3 hours you negotiated the contract with that team? So like what? So I don't know. I don't like, it's just crazy. So before we get into who we did or did not sign and all the details of the contracts, the new contracts, who did we re-sign from last year's roster? 3 dudes. Gunnar Olszewski, linebacker Carter Coughlin, who's mostly utilized on special teams. A lot of people thought that he was gonna Amscray with his buddy, fellow draft partner Cam Brown, noted gunner, and then long snapper Casey Kreider, who I believe is 31 years old and has done a fairly bang-up job. So why not? We just keep signing him to 1-year deals. It's like, all right, well, that went well. Let's just run it back. Do the whole thing over again next year. Very excited that they re-signed Gunnar Olszewski. But I am a little confused considering one of the players that I mentioned in the intro. His signing has me being like, what? So a little fun fact about Gunnar O. Since he entered the NFL in 2019, Olszewski ranks second in punt return yards and punt return average. So we got a good one. We got a steal. All because he had a little bit of a rough stretch with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oof, boy. Who went out and got themselves Russell Wilson. And they're paying him next to no money, like $1 million, while the Denver Broncos pick up the rest of the tab, $38 million. Oof. Must be tough to be a Broncos fan right now. Looking at you, lady. And they're shedding all kinds of big contracts. I think Justin Simmons was cut or waived or released or is planned to be released. You know, it just seems like a lot of guys are on the way out in Denver. So Russell, though, in Pittsburgh, the Giants, he met with the Giants and talked to the Giants. And I was slowly coming around on maybe being 1% into that move, signing Russell Wilson it's a $1 million contract, and you're getting a guy who understandably has been dog shit the past 3-4 seasons. So, but like, can he recapture the magic now that he doesn't have the pressure of this massive contract hovering over him? Does it loosen him up, free him up to do some things, to get back to what he did best? And at the worst, he competes with Daniel Jones and pushes Daniel Jones to be a better quarterback. So it was like, I wasn't completely ruling that out. Was it my top choice? No, I would prefer not for that to happen. But if that did happen, I don't think I would, be jumping off a ledge anytime soon. So Russell Wilson, Steelers, good luck with that, Pittsburgh. So looking at the remaining free agents and what happened with them. Tyrod Taylor, backup quarterback, signs with the Jets for a bunch of money that I don't think the Giants were willing to pay, and for good reason. He is, I've stated on this podcast many times before, I have a very it's not even hate. It's not even dislike. It's just like a frustrating love for Tyrod Taylor. He's such a fucking cool cat. And I love the way that he plays, but he gets hurt. The only knocks, and they're big knocks, huge knocks. Whoa, look at those knocks. Time management. And you can, the time management, the clock management bothers me a little bit. And then the injuries, broken ribs. He got injured, a concussion last year. I mean, he just gets hurt way too much. But man, when he is healthy on the field and not in a high pressure situation with less than 2 minutes to play in either half, yeah, sign me up. But no, he goes to the Jets, and good move by the Jets, I guess. I don't think they were overly pleased with what happened with Zach Wilson last year as the backup, and they brought in like Trevor Siemian, and they had a bunch of other dudes come in, and just no one could move the ball or do anything, which is, as a Jets fan, must be excruciating knowing that you have that kind of defense, that stellar defense, and then your offense just can't give you anything. I wish Tyrod all the best. We'll skip over that one. Matt Breida, unrestricted free agent. I don't think we're going to re-sign him. Wide receiver Paris Campbell, probably not going to re-sign him considering he was a healthy scratch for the last 5 games. Wide receiver Sterling Shepard, who is unofficially retired, right? Like, he's not going to play anywhere else. If he does, it's like training camp, maybe vet minimum cut, before the final roster is released. So for all intents and purposes, Sterling Shepard will not be re-signed by the Giants, and hopefully once a Giant, always a Giant, but only a Giant. That'd be pretty sweet. Guard Shane Lemieux, I don't foresee us re-signing him, and many people are saying the same. Another guy that had so much promise. This is a guy that apparently never missed a game at Oregon, and then missed all the games with the Giants. 2020. It looked like we had something special. He came in. He was not the starter to start the season. He comes in, and him and Andrew Thomas on the left side of the ball were just dominating. And it was just like, we found our left side of the line. And then he just kept getting hurt in training camp, kept getting hurt in the preseason, kept getting hurt each year. And so it's like, we just can't have it. Best ability is availability. Ben Bredeson's a tough one. I don't think he's signed anywhere yet. My hope is that they can bring him back on a fairly team-friendly deal, because I do think he outplayed Josh Azudu. Remember, they were split in time in 2022. He pretty much wins the job in 2023. and showed some versatility, playing center when John Michael Schmitz went down. So I like the guy. I think the Giants are considering a lot of the other names on this list. I think it would be good to keep him as depth, but it's all about the price tag, right? As another team that's also strapped along the offensive line, going to see how he played and say, hey, he's worth more than what the Giants are going to settle for. So possibly he goes. I hope he stays, but I don't want to pay too much. Center Sean Harlow, he's probably gonzo. JC Hassenauer, center's gonzo, even though it's kind of crazy, like one and done, like you sign him to, I guess it was a 1-year deal, and then you get hurt, and we didn't see him at all. Matt Parrott, that one's disappointing to see him go, because he had so much promise and potential. It just felt like, okay, this is the next right tackle, maybe. And then he just was constantly getting hurt or underperforming. So he's probably on the way out. The next two, I really hope they re-sign. I don't know how they're going to make it work, but given the amount of bodies that they're losing and the amount of bodies that they have brought in thus far, it would be nice to have these guys in the mix. Offensive tackle Tyree Phillips and guard Justin Pugh. Pugh's more of an emotional thing for me, because it's like top draft pick, played a lot of games, played a lot of great games, and just priced himself out. I think comes back to the team straight off the couch, infuses a little life into the offensive line. Still didn't look great. So I can easily see him signing somewhere to be a starter, because I think he wants to be a starter, and I just don't think he's going to be a starter here. Not with the moves that we made. So he's most likely on the way out. But I'd like to see him just stick around and be like, and it's be like, you want to be part of something special? But yeah, I wouldn't be. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he bolts, signs somewhere else. That's the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, Isaiah Simmons. I don't know that he was really playing gangbusters. He didn't pop off the screen. He made a couple big plays here or there. I don't think he was a huge liability, but he's also not like that top 10 draft pick kind of guy that he was. And he's projected to be the starter and playing a lot more snaps. And now he's kind of in a limited role, specialty role on passing downs. I guess it's up to Isaiah, I don't know. Is there a team that's strapped for a third safety or a passing down linebacker? It's ultra specific. So, and I don't know, I haven't read too much about Shane Bowen, the new defensive coordinator, and his approach, but he's not Wink Martindale by any means, in that he doesn't blitz a whole lot. And Shane Bowen is known for his run defenses, right? Really top-notch run defenses with the Titans. So feels like Isaiah could be on the way out, but damn, it'd be nice to just bring him back and see if we can unlock the next level. I got to take a quick gander at his approximate value every year, because I don't think you'd find anyone that said, oh, he played like shit last year, but I think a lot of people were expecting him to play more. He's only 25. Yeah, he had an AV of 2. Suited up for 17 games, started 4, had the 1 pick 6, 3 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 1 sack, 50 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 QB hit. Yeah, so if you go by value, I guess he had the worst year of his career. It's a 4-year career, but he played better in Arizona. So tough to justify bringing him back, but I don't know. Maybe this is a case of like you get on Shane, but Shane talks with Shane. Joe Shane talks with Shane Bowen and says, hey, initial thoughts on Isaiah Simmons. He's an unrestricted free agent. Should we bring him back? Considering that he played, fairly not a lot of snaps. I was hoping that he would be more. I mean, personally, I was hoping he would be more of a playmaker. I think everyone did. It was like, well, the amount of people that wanted us to draft him, in 2019 or something like that. There was a lot of people. A lot of hype videos, a lot of mock-ups, and then he eventually comes here, and it's like, I think it was we were all amazed that we got him for a 7th round pick, and then we look at the season they had. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that is, right where about he is. Jared Davis, linebacker. This is another guy where it's like he really stepped up on short notice and played really well, and I was so excited to see him play alongside Bobby Okereke, and then he obviously goes down before the season even starts. Out indefinitely. I completely forgot what the injury was. Was it an ACL or an Achilles? Because ACL, you feel a little bit better about his prospects, even though, I mean, who was the fucking linebacker we had from Wisconsin that played so well his rookie year, and then tears his ACL the second year and he's off the team after that. It's like, whoa. So he's 28, or no, sorry, he's 29. 29. I forget what his injury was. Undisclosed injury. Undisclosed surgery. Huh? I don't know. So it's like, I feel like I would run it back with him, but it depends. All depends on how serious that injury is. Quarterback Darnay Holmes. Feels like he's on the way out, even though he took a pay cut last year and was not really complaining. I think a lot of guys would do that. They take to social media and be like, this is bullshit, and lash out, but he really didn't. And he didn't play awful in the amount of time that he did play, but yeah. So I think he's gone. Adoree Jackson, 1,000% gone. Jihad Ward, probably gonna get released, or they're gonna let him walk because he was so closely tied to Wink Martindale. Ashawn Robinson, who I guess filled in admirably, right, for Leonard Williams after the trade, did okay. Got in a little fisticuffs with Trent Williams in San Fran. He ended up signing with the Panthers, so he won't be returning. I guess so. That's 18 players right there. That's 18 spots that we have to fill. So yeah, they got a lot of work to do, and I don't know they have a ton of cap to do it, considering the moves that they made in free agency. I swear I'm getting to it. Fat Randy is also an unrestricted free agent. Randy Bullock. Oh boy, just unbelievable stint in tenure from Randy Bullock. Just the highest, the lows, the lows. Coming in and nailing a 50 some odd yarder, pulling his hammy, and ending his season. It's just a whirlwind of events. So then there are restricted free agents. There's 4, and of the 4, maybe 2 might get re-signed. The first is the tight end Lawrence Cager. He's probably not coming back. Had a more prominent role in 2022, and then 2023 rolled around, and they just it's crazy because it was like, I think Bellinger might have been hurt a little bit, but Waller was obviously hurt a lot, and it that would have been the time to shine, right? Step up and step in and ball out, but he did not. So I think he's won't be retained. Guard Wyatt Davis is another one. Didn't see much out of him, so I think he won't be retained. And then the last 2 have the strongest probabilities of being re-signed. With one, they're not equal probabilities either. One's more likely, one's less likely. We'll start with the more likely. Cornerback Nick McLeod. I think that is a no-brainer. He stepped in for Adoree Jackson when Adoree got hurt for the umpteenth time. And so I think McLeod, I don't know that he's really ever had a bad game for us. Like, even dating back to the previous year, 2022, filling in for Adoree then and making big plays. So I'm all for bringing him back. I think that's a slam dunk. And then the less likely candidate, which is crazy to say considering his 2022 effort, wide receiver Isaiah Hodgins. What happened? Big body receiver, was doing the things that we all thought Kenny Golladay should do, and then just kind of really disappeared this year. Now, granted, the offense was a fucking disaster from the get. Just 85 sacks allowed. Like, they really couldn't move the ball or be productive like they were in 2022 when Hodgins really broke out. I guess people defensive coordinators figured us out. It was pretty easy to figure out, according to a lot of the reports. And so that's where we just ran into a brick wall. And I guess any kind of plans or schemes that we had for Hodgins were taken off the table. Still a big body dude, young, has fairly good hands, red zone threat. I think that's where he was not utilized enough. Last season was like in the red zone. I mean, big physical guy. You just like get him the ball, whatever way possible. And if all your attention's on Darren Waller, then guess where your attention is not? Isaiah Hodgins. But I could see them like saying, "Nah, we're good." I wish they wouldn't, and it feels like they wouldn't because he is a Shane signing, Joe Shane signing. So he has that connection there. So maybe the probability is going up as I speak. And then there are 2 exclusive rights free agents. One is quarterback Jacob Eason. I don't know. Sure. I mean, I think this is the low risk type thing, this category of free agent. So it's like, yeah, practice squad guy. Why not? And then outside linebacker Benton Whitley, who came in last season at some point and played well, I guess. Did not play too bad. Was outplaying some guys that were making a lot more money, some starters. So yeah, I mean that's that's a lot of players. That's like 20 some odd players. 18, 19, 25 players that, oh boy, it's a lot of spots that we need to plug and fill in. So what spots did we fill in? Let's get to it. We'll start off this free agency reaction with my thoughts on Saquon Barkley signing with the motherfucking Philadelphia Eagles. He didn't receive the franchise tag, and I think the Giants did that out of reverence, respect. They know that probably Saquon wasn't thrilled, and I think he said as much to the media and the press that he was not thrilled about getting the franchise tag before last season. I think a lot of people were like, well, we can just tag him again next season. And the Giants did not opt to do that. For him to sign with the fucking Eagles, though, like, it's not the fact that he signed somewhere else for more money. It's just, and what I'll never fully understand is how people are like, take the emotion out of it. It's a business decision. This is a smart business decision. It's like, is it though? Think about, like, say you go to the Eagles and you fucking suck, or you're just average and you never live up to that contract and you never win a Super Bowl. You're going to look back and be like, fuck. Especially if the Giants are able to really successful put this rebuild together and make a push and win a trophy during Saquon's playing days. The Bears were interested. The Texans were interested. I think there are a bunch of teams that probably could have used his talents, and would love to have him. I know the Ravens were being thrown around. I mean, there are plenty of teams that would love to have Saquon, and he signed with the Eagles, dude. And I don't know. I've been wavering back and forth. Like, does he fully understand, like, as a business decision, does he fully understand how much this hurts, like, down the road? You play your whole career with the Giants. You are essentially set for life with the team, the organization, future employment. Just the potential is through the roof, especially with, if the team were to get good and you win, you're already getting endorsements and sponsorship. Like, what, you would just be tenfold. And I don't know. I want to be a Giant for life. Like, and this is where he grew up a Jets fan. If he grows up a Giants fan, ain't no fucking way that is happening. Signing with the Eagles. No way. But he's a Jets fan. So he doesn't give a fuck about the Giants. As much as he talked about it, he wants to be a lifelong Giant. And, I thought he would be. I was like, I can't see this team ever letting go of this guy after what he did his rookie season. And obviously gets banged up over the next 3 seasons. Didn't help things. But my God, at least once a game or more, he's putting on like a ridiculous play I've never seen before. Just something that 99% of running backs can't do. So yeah, it fucking hurts. I was mentally preparing myself to be like Saquon-less with sans Saquon for a long time because it's just the tea leaves, you're reading the tea leaves and it was like, okay, man, the Giants really did put a lot of effort into trying to get him to sign last season. They then put in a decent amount of effort this season. And to be off by, I'm curious to know what the Giants would have been like. I think the offer last year was 12 million a year or 11 million. Annual average value was around 11 to 12 million, I think, for 3 years. And then he ends up signing with the Eagles for 3 years, like 37 million, 26 million guaranteed. I guess he would have got 23 million guaranteed with the Giants if he had signed last year. I mean, he just didn't want to be here. I don't know. I obviously not a professional athlete. And but like I've always been a proponent of legacy. When you're retired or when you are you're old and you're looking back at your life, you want to say, I'm so happy I made that extra $3 million. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous to most normal folk, blue collar working red blooded Americans who make probably $50,000 a fucking year. When you're already guaranteed 23 to get to 26, it's like that's what free agency, it really shows your true colors. It really does. If you are playing for a team that you like where you are, you like the city, you like the team, you like the coach, you will take the deal that is probably not ideal for business. You do it because you feel great about the team, the brotherhood, the direction of the team. When you sign somewhere else for more money, you didn't like where you were. And you can say, oh, well, they offered me more money. It's like, well, if you really truly loved where you were playing, you would stay with the team that you're with. I mean, what I'm trying to say is like, it's not like the Giants were like, yeah, we're going to offer you like 2-year, $5 million per, considering the contract that they handed to Devin Singletary. I do not think that they were going to try and offer that to Saquon. All the reports and rumors coming out were like, it's not a bad deal. So for all the journalists and all these quote unquote level-headed people, like even Talking Giants it's just no one's got any fucking raw emotion to this that I follow. Like it was just a lot of people like, this puts the nail in the coffin on the worst draft decision of blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, dude. No, you know what the worst draft decisions were? Every other draft decision. It was like, we didn't draft good offensive linemen. We didn't draft pass rushers. We didn't draft it. I mean, at least in this free agency period. And I mean, Gettleman addressed shit. The positions of need he addressed. He just didn't pick the right guys, and the contracts were awful. So it's like Shane is making a more concerted effort to bolster and fortify the trenches, offensive line, defensive line, pass rush, pass protection, which is great. So, I don't think a lot of the moves are possible if they retain Saquon either on a franchise tag or with a multi-year deal. But like this is where I'm my opening rant was like, how is this possible? Like all these rumors circulating, like it's rumored that blah, 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 like they're not allowed to aren't they not allowed to talk to each other? So how is that? What the fuck's going on? I don't know how they would be able to enforce that anyway. Like how the hell do you monitor that? I guess you go through back channels like this one, text this one, text this one, text this one, text this one, who faxes this one. It's like, I have no clue. But yeah, around 3:00 on Monday, I get the text. I see the text first because I'm, buried in my work per usual. And it's my buddy's a Giants fan who just sends me the screenshot or the graphic, per Adam Schefter, Barkley signs with Eagles. And it was just like, and no hesitation, I wrote back, he's dead to me. He's dead to me. The exact same reaction that Tiki Barber had. The fact that me and Tiki are on the same wavelength is a little scary. But, I mean, he had, it felt, I think in Tiki's eyes, it was like, I want to like pass the torch to someone, or I want to be have someone that is like, because then well, selfishly, it probably puts him in the spotlight again, where it's like, oh, is Saquon going to break Tiki's record? That kind of thing. But also I think he might have seen himself as maybe a, I don't know, unofficial mentor. And he probably felt really butthurt because I think, they probably had a bunch of conversations. There are a lot of photos of them together, both at events off the field and then on the field. So like, I don't know. But, once the rumor was coming around, Tiki was like, you don't do that. You just don't do that. That'll kill your legacy. And that's coming from Tiki fucking Barber. Like if anyone has, maybe he's the best guy to talk about that. The fact that he, he gave up and quit and didn't want to play because he didn't have belief in Eli. He didn't have belief in the team, blah, blah, blah. And it, somewhat understandable. Because like you think about what happened in 03 and 04, I guess it was really only 2 rough years. Jesus, Tiki. In 2005, he had a career year. In 2006, they took a little bit of a step back. So I don't know. I guess Coughlin really rubbed him the wrong way. But for Tiki to say, like, this is a guy who potentially, like, if you ask a lot of fans, really tainted his legacy. I mean, there were a bunch, I've said this multiple times, like, anytime his name comes up in the stadium or like Ring of Honor or whatever, there are boos. I don't know if the boos are as strong or as long or as down to get the friction on as they used to be. I think that's kind of petered out, but this is a guy who knows how. He's the franchise's all-time leading rusher. 10,000 plus yards. Should be considered for the Hall of Fame, but probably won't get in, which sucks. And I mean, tainted his legacy. Fucking unbelievable. All because of a few comments that he made about Eli. Wow. So the guy knows what he's talking about. Don't do it. Cautionary tale. I'm the cautionary tale. Like, look what I did, and I played for the team the whole time. And maybe that was kind of in the back of Saquon's head. He's like, here's Tiki, great running back, franchise's all-time leading rusher. Guy makes one comment, like essentially, quote unquote, quits, or is fed up with the direction of the organization and retires, I guess. I don't know. And now is not held in high regard by a lot of fans. So Saquon's probably like, fuck this noise. Why am I going to continue to play? Like, I'm going to play for, Tiki played for about 10 years, right? 10 seasons. He's like, I'm going to play for 10 seasons. I've already played for 4 or 5 seasons. And we've only made the playoffs once, and feels like we're going in the wrong direction. And, so there are a lot of motivating factors for Saquon to stay and to go. And I think even though the impetus to go might be a little bit stronger, fuck, man. I mean, it's just, I truly appreciate and value guys that are able to make it work for so long with one team. You just don't see it anymore. Especially like, a guy that's supposed to, like, if they hit free agency, is going to get buku cash, like top dollar, and they decide to re-sign with their team on a team friendly deal because they believe in the team. So that everything, unless I don't know, maybe Joe Shane and Brian Dable were a little too hard in their stance on Saquon, where it's like, no, you're not worth that. Like, maybe there was no sugar and spice and everything nice. There were no like lollipops and rainbows or unicorns. It was just like, Saquon, this is what we think you're worth. Take it or leave it. And Saquon was like, well, fuck you. So we'll never know the true story, which sucks. Maybe there'll be a documentary like years down the road after we win our 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th Super Bowl. But the fucking Eagles, dude. You cannot tell me that Saquon didn't think about that. I don't like, man. I understand the spotlight is bright and it's stressful here, but as everyone has said, you play in New York and you win, you're a legend for life. You play somewhere else and you win, odds are you might not get the same kind of longevity on your fame, blah, blah, blah. So for him to opt for the Eagles, who did not look great towards the end of last season and are possibly on the decline, with Jason Kelsey retiring, some turnover in the coaching staff, losing a few guys to free agency trades. I just think it's such a dick move. It just is. For everyone saying, "Oh, it's a business decision," it's like, you know what a part of business is? Relationships. And you pretty much ended a lot of relationships with a lot of fans by doing that. And the fans that are like either defending him or like not upset by or not concerned or not bothered, I don't know how they do it. I really don't. I guess I should know how to do it. Being age 43 now, you would think I would know how to do self-control and discipline and whatnot, but I was steamed. It took me out of the workday. For the next 2 hours, I was just like, what the fuck, dude? What a load of shit. It took me a while to recover. Because I think like I said, it's okay if he leaves and signs somewhere else. It's not okay. Just go anywhere else. Literally anywhere else. I would say, and I said this, I forget to who, I think to my girlfriend, I was like, I actually wouldn't mind if he signed with the Commanders or the Cowboys. The Cowboys. I was like, I actually don't think I would mind that. The one team that it makes me sick to my stomach that he signs with is the fucking Eagles, and he did it. He has to know how much Giants, I mean, like he knows about the fucking rivalry. He's been playing in the rivalry for 5-6 years. Anyway, here's how he stacks up against the other notable free agent running backs in touches, expected points added per target or rush, and expected points added per target and per rush. So he had 288 touches, which was 8th among the free agents. He was a minus 0.2 expected. Jesus Christ. Expected points added per target or rush, and minus 0.19. So he's in the 50s there. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't know what to say that. Did he have a bang up year, a great year? Not, I mean, no, not, and I think he would admit that. But the fact that what I was kind of really proud of is his fact to fight through shit. It's a tough year, but he still managed to crank out almost 1,000 yards rushing. It was a down year, but yet he's like, I don't know. I'm going to go to my grave saying this. We never used him the right way. Never. I mean, I understand that he was targeted second most behind Christian McCaffrey, I think, which is what is so appealing to me about the guy is that, like, he is just as much of a threat in the receiving game as he is in the rushing game. I mean, you look at his fucking rookie year, he had 90 plus catches, something like that. Holy shit. And we just never used him like that again. I guess the thought was, well, we really just wore him down thin in that rookie year, and we cannot do that again. But I still don't think we knew how to use him in the passing game. And I still don't think we ever tailored the running game to his strengths. And that a lot of that has to do with the offensive line just sucking dick. So, I just third most touches among free agents, 8th in the league. He was ahead of Josh Jacobs, DeAndre Swift, Devin Singletary, Ezekiel Elliott, Austin Eckler, blah, 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 blah. So, a lot of touches. Just it's not that we got him the ball, just not in the right way. So 3 years, $37 million, $26 million guaranteed. The Athletic graded all these signings, and they gave it a B+, and I give it an F-. He ranks second on their list of the top 150 free agents. And if he meets his incentives, he could draw an average salary of $15.83 million, which would be the second most for running backs in NFL history. I'm going to go on a limb and say he will not hit those incentives. And I think we'll look back on this contract and we'll say, woof, Eagles really bit it hard on that one. I still think he'll be productive. I mean, the Eagles always find a way to fucking make that offensive line above average somehow, some way. So, I think he'll probably get 1,000-yard rushing season. But is he going to be this guy that people thought, like, is he going to be the guy that he was rookie year? Probably not. We've said that for a while. Is he going to be the guy that we saw in 2022? Maybe shades, but not the same. So it's like, I think the Eagles are going to realize after year 1 or 2, it's like, ooh, baby. But they must have a master plan. And I guess that's what sold Saquon as like, hey, take a look. We make the playoffs. We're at the top of the division. We go to the Super Bowl. We go to the playoffs. We, look at all the Pro Bowlers. Look at all the, blah, blah, blah. And look how we've owned the Giants. And look at this, look at that. Look at like what we have designed for you. Here's our offensive coordinator and our rush coordinators, telling you, here's what the Giants did wrong. Here's what we're going to do for you. I guess that was part of it, all in the 3 hours that you're allowed to do that before he was signed. So, yeah, I'm not gonna say best of luck and best wishes. Fuck that, dude. Fuck that. I hold grudges. It's a flaw, major character flaw. I'm gonna hold a grudge right now. You don't go to the Eagles. The last Giant that I remember going to the Eagles, big name, was Mark Bavaro. And I remember being pretty butthurt about that and devastated. And I don't think he did much of anything with the Eagles. So, that's something where it's like, guys think they have something left in the tank. They go somewhere else for a year and it's like, was that worth it? Let me work it. So, yeah, I don't wish him best of luck. And I hope, I definitely hope that he doesn't do jack squat against us. And I don't want him doing anything productive against any team, because then that puts our odds of winning the division and going to the playoffs much lower. So fuck that. For all of them, they're like, oh, I wish you the best. Like taking the high road. No, I don't take the high road. I'm a low road guy. I'm going low road. I'm with Tiki on this one. Which, did I ever think I would hear myself say that? No. But you fucking can't do that, man. You can't do that. It's not a business decision. It's just not. It's more than that. You can pretend it's a business decision, and everyone's, I have all these journalists and reporters, beat reporters sending out, like, here's what the Giants offer, here's what the Eagles offered. Ultimately, it's a better deal. He made I don't give a shit. This is a guy who led us to believe that he wanted to be a Giant for life. I don't know. I mean, you see we talked about it many times. I think last season, and then into this season, every interview is just like, this guy is fucking pissed and does not want to be here. He might be saying the words, I want to be the Giant for life, but like, he seems like he wants out. So have fun. No, don't have fun. I don't even know, fucking A, man. I, was very on the fence about drafting him number 2 overall in the 2018 draft. There were people dying for us to take fucking Josh Rosen. Go fuck yourself. So it's like, I think we still made the right move. I really do. It was just all the other moves most of the moves that Gettleman made fucking sucked. But you cannot tell me that you were not thoroughly impressed with what he did in college and what he did at the combine, and a physical freak of nature whose legs remind you of Barry Sanders, a fucking video game character, Bo Jackson, 2.0. And it's just like, and he pretty much proved that in his rookie season, and then couldn't really keep it going for the next few seasons. So I don't know. I have no problem with us drafting him number 2. I have no problem. And, I think that I called it a lot of times that he has the potential to be the greatest running back of all time. And he just, brutal. So I think it's the beginning of the end for Barkley going to the fucking Eagles. Yuck. He's going to regret that for Sheezy. He's going to regret that in his, new mansion with his 17 cars and his fucking whatever. So who did we get to replace Saquon, or at least partially replace Saquon? I don't know that you can 100% replace Saquon with one guy. It'll probably take a few. So one step towards that healing process is signing former Buffalo Bill and Houston Texan running back Devin Singletary. Who agreed to a 3-year, $16.5 million deal with the Giants. This dude was a 3rd-round pick by the Bills in 2019, so there's some familiarity there, which probably prompted Dable to go to Shane and say, "Hey, I like this guy." The Athletic gave this signing a grade of C, average. When I first saw it announced, I was like, oh, well, he's not going to be our number 1. He'll be like he'll fill in for the Matt Breida right? Matt Breida is probably not coming back. He'll take on the Matt Breida role and be the backup for, whoever the starting running back is, because I can't see him being the starting running back. That was just off the top of the dome, not knowing shit about the guy. I was just going by, my vague limited knowledge. I was like, oh, this doesn't feel like a big splash, or like this doesn't feel like a big signing. But then I saw the years and the total, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a little bit more than you would normally give to a backup running back. And then I looked at his numbers and I was like, all right, I'm coming around on this. So I think C's low. I think this is more of a B-, and it could trend towards a B plus. He is a little bit on the smaller side, 5'7", 203, but he's rushed for an average of almost 800 yards per season during his first 4 NFL seasons. Been relatively healthy, playing at least 16 games since his second season in the league. And then he rushed for a career high 898 yards on 216 carries for 4 touchdowns in a complete 17-game season. He also added 30 catches for an additional 193 yards. And according to Pro Football Focus, Singletary registered 36 missed tackles forced and had 26 runs of 10-plus yards. Whoa. And his nickname is Motor, which is kind of fucking cool. He was ranked 97th on the Athletics list of the top 150 available free agents. So I am intrigued. At first I'm like, okay, well, I got to back up. I could see him being a starter, being the one, or being in a platoon situation with another guy who's similar. And that's basically how you try to replace Saquon, with 2 guys that are similarly built, similarly priced. Or maybe you just go into the season, you say, fuck it, with Devin Singletary. I have to think, if you're Saquon, it's got to burn your ass a little bit that the Giants are now investing like wisely in the offensive line. It seems like they're making good moves. That's got to chap his stick a little bit, seeing that. But it's like, dude, if you just took a team-friendly deal, maybe a lot of this would still go down. We mentioned how Tyrod signed with the Jets. So who do we get to replace T-Mobile? Drew Lock. Oh, baby. 1-year contract worth $5 million. He was ranked 140th out of 150 top free agents. 27 years old. He's made 23 career starts. He did not play a snap in 2022, but he made 4 appearances last season. Of course, he came in against the Giants when Geno Smith went down for a drive and led him to a touchdown. And then he beat the Eagles. Eagles going to Seattle, kind of a must-win game, and Drew Lock leads a game-winning drive. So I think that was, I have not watched a ton of Drew Lock. All I have seen prior to last season was animated GIFs of him on the sideline dancing and grooving to the music. And I was like, oh, this guy seems cool. He was part of the trade for Russell Wilson, and I'm actually pretty happy with this pickup. I know there's Gardner Minshew, there's Jameis Winston, there's Jacoby Brissett, there's blah, 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 blah. I don't hate this move at all. He tied for second in average air yards per attempt in his last season as a starter in 2020 for the Broncos. So the guy likes to air it out, and that is music to thine ears. He became the first NFL rookie in the Super Bowl era to pass for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in his first career road start. He was the 42nd pick in the second round of the 2019 NFL draft by Denver, 4-year starter at Mizzou. His 12,193 career passing yards were second in SEC history, while his 99 touchdown passes were the third most. So I really like this move because you didn't lose much with Tyrod leaving. Drew Lock is as good as, and could be better than, Tyrod Taylor as far as a backup. And we saw how fucking close Tyrod came to winning a bunch of games last year. If you put Drew Lock in those same situations, is Drew Lock winning those games, or are we knocking on the door of the playoffs? Some are saying, mostly me. So I really like the deal. And you choose to believe what you want to believe. Choose to believe Joe Shane and saying that Daniel Jones is still our starter and he'll be the starter week 1. if he's healthy. If I'm, and this may be, we might revert back to a 2022 training camp situation in the preseason where Dable was testing Daniel Jones, throwing a lot of tough shit at him and stacking all the chips against him. Does he do that again with Drew Lock and saying, you know what? I know, Joe Shane's the GM and that's great, but I had a talk with Joe and we're going to have a quarterback competition. Drew Lock's going to run with the first team. Daniel Jones will run with the first team. May the best man win. Would that be that shocking? We'll get to how this impacts Daniel Jones, I guess right now. Let's just do it right now. So we didn't spend on a high-end backup, right? That was option one. And it really came down to the two that I liked were Tyrod and Jacoby Brissett. But again, it's like when you hand Daniel the kind of contract that you did, it kind of hamstrings you and handcuffs you. So I can see why they didn't bring back Tyrod, considering what he signed for with the Jets. Or you can sign a discount backup, signing a journeyman like Josh Johnson or Trevor Siemian. We did better than that. We brought in a guy who's a quote unquote discount backup who isn't a journeyman, who's on the younger side. Not a Josh Johnson or Trevor Siemian. Neither of which oh my God. Both of those names make me sweat a little bit. Yeah. So I'm over the moon that we got Drew Lock. And then people are saying, well, just because we signed Drew Lock doesn't mean that we're ruling out the Giants making a move for a quarterback in the top, in the first round. It's just like, I think it kind of does. I think it does kind of rule it out. I don't think that you can, I just don't see that happening. But the draft comes around. Option one, the Giants trade into the top three to ensure a top quarterback prospect, Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Jaden Daniels, I guess is the third. Option two, you take a quarterback with the sixth pick. And some are thinking that Jaden Daniels could, well, I think previously, a couple of weeks ago, they would think that Jaden Daniels might slide to 6. But now there's talk about fucking, I don't know, JJ McCarthy? No. Option 3, use a later pick on a quarterback, which I think before they did make the big trade for Brian Burns, it seemed like I would have been cool with that, using one of the 2 second-round picks on a quarterback, like JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, or Michael Penix Jr. And, the two biggest examples of that working out, Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love, right? Jones is only 26, y'all. Sims, I know I keep bringing up Phil Simms, but Phil Simms was 29 when he had his first full good season as a starter in 1984. Granted, he was 24 when he was drafted, so he's a little bit on the older side, kind of like Eli when he came out of college. Jones will be 27 this upcoming season, and after the season, there's a potential out. So, I mean, how many years in a row are we going to say this is a make or break season for Daniel Jones? But I hate to use Phil Simms. I use Phil Simms as a fucking reason to stick with quarterbacks all the goddamn time. And I think it just goes to show that Phil Simms is just the exception to the rule. I don't think there are many other quarterbacks that can really do what he did. Get hurt repeatedly. Show promise and potential, but get hurt. I mean, yeah, the first fucking 4 or 5 years of his career. And yet they stuck with him. Different time, I get it. That was the early 80s. There was a lot of cocaine. So I get it, but it feels like kind of been dealt a raw hand. That offensive line blew last year. And for everyone saying that, oh, well, look at like what Tyrod and DeVito were able to do. They outperformed Daniel. And it's like, well, different opponents, easier. Some are saying easier opponents. Some are also saying that the offensive, he didn't have his weapons. The offensive line got better, shit like that. So I don't know. I still believe in Daniel. People are writing him off left and right. And they're like, and it seems like every move I see someone, tweeting or writing like, oh, Joe Shane, DJ's next. Get him off my team. It's just like, I can't believe how quickly we can go from love to hate. And I know that's ironic because I hate Saquon Barkley. And I didn't as of Monday at 11:59 a.m. So I get how it's NFL, not for long. It's crazy how things can turn quickly. against a player or even for a player. But I don't think we've seen the last of DJ, and I don't think we've seen his best play. I think it's still to come. It is disheartening to hear reports about how being leaked that the Dable and Kafka, the coaching staff, QB's coach, Shea Tierney, I think. Like, it is disheartening to hear that they said that he cannot make decisions, that he cannot process defenses, that they told him that if he doesn't have the first option to take off and run in the B gap. And I guess defenses caught on to that, and so they did not allow for a B gap. That is disheartening. I choose not to believe it. So deal with it. Bold prediction. I think he gets back on track. And I think he has a season similar to 2022, if not a little bit better. Because I think by now, he's got to have a fire under his ass. He's like, whoa, fucking Saquon's gone. As much as Daniel Jones can have a fire under his butt cheeks. They signed Drew Lock. Like, I just think he's got to have some kind of desire or will. And everyone has said that about him, that he is, if anything, they need to tell him to pump the brakes on the rehab because he's like too intense about it. So there's no question about his work ethic. It's literally his ability to process schemes and defenses. How do you get better at that? So feels like, odds are, I get it. I'm also a realist. In addition to being an idealist, I understand that he very easily could be off the team after next season. But I also have visions of grandeur for this man. I really do think that he still has a lot more to prove and a lot more to show. And, we got to see, we've gotten really great, excellent tastes of it. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. You look at a lot of the other quarterbacks that didn't pan out, you never saw those glimpses of greatness. Danny Cannell, Jesse Palmer, Kent Graham, Dave Brown. We went through a shit, Tommy Maddox. We went through a shit ton of quarterbacks, and some of them had some nice plays here or there, but never flashes of, oh, this guy's special. Never. I mean, Kerry Collins comes around and he does stuff that we haven't seen from a Giants quarterback in 5-6 years. It's like, this guy's a fucking cannon. And we have a vertical game now. And, we can let loose, right? Attack downfield. So, in 99, when Collins comes in, it's like, oh, okay, you raise your eyebrows and you're like, we might have something here. Maybe he's gotten over the hump. Like, he's not what he was when he got, towards the end of his tenure with Carolina and then into the Saints. Like, this is a rejuvenated, reborn kind of dude. Is Daniel Jones going to be the next Eli Manning? No. I think we already can officially state that. But can he be more akin to a Kerry Collins, a guy that can get us to the Super Bowl? Maybe not win, but get us there. He has my vote of confidence. And if you're sitting there saying, well, why would you want a guy that can just get us to the Super Bowl and not win a Super Bowl? What the fuck, Neil? It's like, beggars can't be choosers, and it's been a pretty severe drought. So I'm rooting for the guy, just like I was rooting for Saquon before he betrayed us and became a turncoat. So what has given me kind of more confidence in the offense heading into this season? Well, it's the couple of free agent signings, one of which being John Runyon Jr. How ironic that we lose Saquon to the filthy team from the city of brotherly shove. And then we end up signing the son of longtime Eagles offensive lineman and I guess Thorne in Michael Strahan's side, John Runyon. We signed John Runyon Jr., who was an offensive guard for the Packers. Athletic gave this a B, and my guess is because Runyon's not like an elite top-level offensive guard, but maybe we paid him like an elite top-notch offensive guard. They give it a B, which I disagree with. I think it's a B plus, A minus. And he was ranked 11th on the list of top 150 free agents. He has established himself as an effective and versatile versatile interior lineman. 6th-round pick from the Packers in 2020, is yet to miss a game in his 4-year NFL career. Let me repeat. Has yet to miss a game in his 4-year NFL career. Now, like I said, Shane Lemieux didn't miss a friggin' game at Oregon and then could not stay on the field with the Giants. So we'll see how that pans out. He has started 50 of the 51 games across the last 3 seasons. 6'4", 307 pounds. Allowed just 22 total pressures and 2 sacks, according to Pro Football Focus last season. His 92.4 pass rush win rate ranked 9th amongst all guards, according to ESPN Stats and Info. This is a crazy stat. He has played almost 1,900 total pass blocking snaps in his NFL career and has allowed only 7 sacks. Legitimately, I think Mark Lewinsky allowed 7 sacks in 2 games. That statement alone, that little tidbit of trivia alone, makes this signing an A in my book. And like I said, his father, John Sr., played 14 years in the NFL, including 9 with the Eagles, and often matched up against Strahan. Strahan actually thanked John Sr. in his induction speech, calling him the toughest guy I ever had to face on a consistent basis. So high praise from Strahan, who, I mean, I can't tell you how many highlight clips I've seen of Strahan literally tossing John Runyon aside. So let's hope that doesn't happen with Junior along the offensive line. But what guard was a problem? Guard along one of the guard spots was a problem. Both guard spots are a problem. And now, boop, not so much a problem anymore. So we've attacked. So how do we, and this is where it gets interesting. We sign former Raiders tackle Jermaine Illuminor. 2 years, $14 million. So I think the contract for John Runyon Jr. was 3 years, $30 million. People are saying, that's too much, overpaid, but I think it's going to be a freaking steal. And then 2 years, $14 million for Jermaine Illuminor. The Athletic gave this a grade of A, and this dude was ranked 16th on the list of top 150 free agents. Started 31 games over the past 2 seasons at both tackle spots for Las Vegas. A quality tackle, especially in pass protection. Yeah, I mean, you can't give up the most sacks almost of all time, second to only the 86 Eagles, I think. And then not bring in guys that aren't good at pass protection. Like, that's first and foremost. Let's get that done. Let's if we're really gonna give, if this is the truly, I don't know how a quarterback can have. Daniel Jones has broken the record for a number of make or break years. Truly, this has to be it. This has to be it. Might as well like send him out with a bang, right? It's like give him the best opportunity to succeed, and I think they're doing that by bringing in John Runyon Jr. and Jermaine Illuminor. He was a 5th-round pick by the Ravens out of A&M in 2017. He made the Pro Football Writers of America All-Rookie team in his first year, and then was traded to the Patriots in 2019, and he won the starting right tackle job in 2020. Here's a direct quote from the man himself. Well, first I have to say he made 45 regular season starts, 32 at right tackle, 7 at left tackle, and 6 at right guard. So we'll get to how that might impact Evan Neal in a little hot beat. But first, this is a quote from him. The first football game I ever watched was Dolphins versus Giants at Wembley Stadium in 2007. Fast forward 17 years later, it's been 17 fucking years. Ugh. I get the opportunity to suit up and play for the team that made me want to play this game. Grateful is an understatement. And that's what I'm fucking talking about, dude. You like a team and you've liked a team for a while. You sign, maybe not for top money, but you sign because you want to be part of the team. Saquon cannot sit there and say it was strictly a business decision. You know why it became a business decision? Because it became an emotional decision. You can't tell me otherwise. You can say it's a business decision, but you made that business decision because emotionally you got fucked with your negotiations with the Giants. It's that simple. If you really like the team, you would continue to work at it and continue to get a deal done because you want to be part of something bigger and better. A fucking legacy, my man. Ugh. Whew. But this guy sounds like he actually wants to be on the Giants, so that's a good thing. He bounced from the Dolphins to the Jaguars to the Raiders between June and September 2021. But he was with Carmen Brasillo in New England and Vegas. So our new offensive line coach. Very excited about what Brasillo is bringing to the table. Can't be any more excited. I think he's honestly going to turn the offensive line around to the point where we'll have an average offensive line, which is all I've asked for. I know we'll never compete with the Eagles and Cowboys in terms of having a top 10 offensive line. If we can just get to average, I think we can win a lot of games. Also the versatility, right? So like predominantly right tackle, but Evan Neal's our right tackle or has been our right tackle. We've been talking for fucking months about how they should move Evan Neal into guard. So would you rather have Illuminor at right tackle, Evan Neal at right guard, or would you rather have Evan Neal at right tackle and Illuminor at right guard? I think we all know the answer to that. So it feels like maybe you have a competition, but ultimately I don't think you spend too much time on that competition because you need to get Evan Neal up and running at guard, essentially. And then rounding out the offensive additions via the freest of agencies, Isaiah McKenzie signed. He's 5'8", 173 pounds. Has experience with Dable and Shane, having played in Buffalo for parts of 5 seasons. 5th round draft choice by the Broncos in 2017. Played in 93 games with 28 starts for the Broncos, Bills, and Colts. Career numbers aren't great. They're not going to really jump off the page for you. So I think what is interesting is his versatility, right? So he has 152 receptions for almost 1,500 yards and 11 touchdowns, in addition to 50 rushing attempts for 244 yards for almost 5 yards a carry and 4 scores. And then he attempted 1 pass that went for a 12-yard touchdown in 2020. But he's primarily a return specialist. He's returned 81 punts for 722 yards, including an 84-yard touchdown. He also brought back 56 kickoffs for 1,200 yards, the longest 75. So that is interesting because we just re-signed Gunnar Olszewski. So is this a competition or is this just insurance for Olszewski? I'm hoping it's insurance. But also, is this a situation where it's like we're going to have Olszewski and McKenzie back returning kicks? Kind of a dual threat. That is really interesting to me. So I guess it doesn't hurt. It's just like, whoa, I'm a gunner guy. So what's going on? Is his job in trouble? Are they having second thoughts? What's going on? So not like a huge, incredible splash signing, but the fact that he has so many rushing attempts and has attempted a pass, that is really cool because that means when he's on the field, it can get interesting. Could he run it? Could he, especially in the red zone, is he going to run it? Is he going to throw it? So I think having that, like a Swiss Army knife like that is really great to have. So there's additions on offense. I love all of them other than Saquon signing with the goddamn Eagles. I loved, I'm in like with a lot of the moves. I think, they didn't go, I don't really think they overpaid for a lot of guys. And it seems like the guys that they got are qualified to protect their quarterback. And that's all I asked for. Just don't give up 85 sacks. Let's cut that in half. Let's cut that number in half. Can we do it? Yes, we can. So I like what we've done so far on the offensive side of the ball. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, not so much action. And I think that's because we have a fair, like, I know the numbers didn't show it last year, but I think we have a pretty solid core of guys on defense. Bobby Okereke, Kayvon, Sexy Dexy, Deontay Banks, right? There's a good kind of core group of guys there where we have one solid dude per unit that we believe in and then we've invested in and we have great hopes for. So we didn't make a ton of moves on the defensive side of the ball. We just made one huge, massive move in trading for Brian Burns, the Carolina Panthers pass rusher. Panthers, by all accounts, from everyone that has chimed in on this, they got fleeced yet again, which is crazy. And there are people that are, not happy down in Carolinas. And I can understand why, because they've had opportunities to really pull off some great moves and transactions and have failed to do so. And then the transactions and that they do engage in, that they do pull the trigger on, are pretty piss poor. So God bless you, Carolina. But thank you. I appreciate it. So Carolina sent Pro Bowl defensive end Brian Burns to the Giants in exchange for the number 39 overall pick in the 2024 NFL draft. So that was one of the two picks, one of the two second round picks that we have. I don't know if it's the one we got for Leonard Williams. Doesn't matter. And a 2025 fifth round pick. The Panthers will also have an additional fifth round pick swap. I mean, that's like crazy. I know people are saying, well, that, there was some talk about like, wow, we actually traded Leonard Williams. We ended up trading Leonard Williams for Brian Burns, who's probably an upgrade. But they don't take into consideration that Brian Burns signed a pretty healthy contract extension. 5 years worth up to $150 million, including $87.5 million guaranteed, and contains an additional $9 million in incentives, which it's just like, I'll never understand that. And the players get so excited about it when they get the incentive. It's just like, and maybe I'd love to have an NFL player explain it to me. When you have almost $90 million guaranteed, does $9 million move the fucking needle at all? I just don't. It's weird. Like, to get more excited about an incentive that is drastically less than the total, I guess, yeah. I don't know. This is why I'm in debt. He's now the second highest paid edge rusher in the league and the fourth highest paid defensive player. Whoa. And that, I guess we still have the second round pick from the Williams trade. So we got rid of the higher of our 2 second round draft picks. Burns is going to be 26 in April. Drafted by Carolina in 2019 with the number 16 pick overall. Over 80 games in 5 seasons, he recorded 46 sacks in a career high 12.5 in 2022. Earned a Pro Bowl nod in 2021 and 2022. 6'5", 250. Had 8 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 32 solo tackles in 2023, which doesn't exactly jump off the page. But I think they're 2-time Pro Bowler, had a big year the previous year. So what are his ranks from 2019, his first year, through 2023, the last year, in terms of pressure percentage, sacks, and pressures? Glad you asked. 12.6% pressure percentage, which was 41st in the league. 46 sacks, which is 12th in the league, and then 246 pressures, which is 21st in the league. And a lot of people, I think the haters, it feels similar to the Bobby Okereke signing in free agency last year, where it was like, okay, this guy has shown flashes and promise here and there, but like, really, we're going to pay him that for the hope that he'll exceed those expectations? And he pretty much did. I mean, rough start first quarter of the season, but like second quarter or 3 quarters, he really showed. He really played to his contract value. So I think that's a similar situation with Brian Burns, where it's like, okay, he's 12th now, but I think he's going to get in the top 10. That's the hope, is that he'll be top 10 in pressures, sacks, and pressure percentage. So, and here's what we're talking about with the Panthers, like just shooting themselves in the paw. The Rams reportedly offered 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick for Burns at the 2022 trade deadline, but the Panthers declined. The 2 other big pass rushers that were on the Giants' radar, Grenard signed a 4-year, $76 million contract with the Vikings, and Bryce Huff, who's a 25-year-old defensive end for the Jets, reportedly agreed to a 3-year, $51.1 million deal with the goddamn Eagles. Whew. So the cap hit for 2024 will be $23.5 million for Brian Burns, before maxing out at $30.5 million in the final 2 years of the deal. It's a lot of money, but I think you pair him with fucking Kayvon Thibodeau and Dexter Lawrence, and maybe even Azeez Ojulari if he's feeling up to it. I think I saw people posting pictures of like the NASCAR formation, when we had Kiwanuka and Tuck and Umanura, and so if we could get back to that, I think you'd have a lot of people grinning ear to ear, homie. Former Giants GM David Gentleman, far from it, right? Dave Gettleman tried to trade up for Burns in the 2019 draft and was unable to execute a deal. So he stood pat and took Dexter Lawrence with the 17th pick. And look, oh boy. And the sands of time have brought them back together. again. He's missed only 3 games in 5 seasons. Let's hope he sticks to that. But given the fact that MetLife is cursed and the turf is the worst, we'll see. The Athletic gave this trade grade an A. So I agree. Though it does give me sweaty flashbacks to the Olivier Vernon contract, where it's like year 1. And this is like what bothers me about free agency so much. And I think a lot of people are like, they get so amped and psyched about free agency. And it's like, it so rarely pays off. Let's get back to just having killer draft after killer draft after killer draft. Can we get back to that? That's how you win, through the draft, not through trades and free agency. As many people have noted, it's to supplement. That's the supplement, right? What you already have. But what we've been doing over the past, I don't know how many years, is that whenever we have the cap space, we blow it all on pricey free agents, big splashy free agents that come in and do well the first year, and then the second, third year are just like decline. So let's hope that's not the case with Brian Burns. I mean, the fact that he's only 26 helps. The fact that he's had more than one good season of production, unlike Olivier Vernon, which is like, I think he just had the one good year. This could be a huge move for us because, I mean, that defense, I mean, I put out a video about it, inconsistent a lot of the time, where it's like, what are we dealing with here? Are you guys like the guys that can hold an opposing team to 3 points? And you blitz like crazy and you're applying pressure like nuts and like teams can't run on you, or are you getting gouged for 40? It was, I don't think I've ever seen a more disparity game to game with a unit than I did with the 2023 Giants defense, where it's like you can absolutely shut down opposing offenses one week and then just get blown out the next week. It's like, all right. So here's to hoping that both Kayvon and Brian Burns can stay on the field the entire season. And if they can, playoffs. And then the last move is to try and alleviate or give us some relief for losing one Xavier McKinney to the Green Bay Packers. X-Man signed a 4-year, $68 million contract with Green Bay. The Athletic gave the move an A grade, gave the Green Bay Packers an A for that deal. And McKinney was ranked number 8 on the list of top 150 available free agents. And all I have to say to that is, Green Bay, you done fucked up. Okay? As much as McKinney, I mean, we were talking, man, I don't know if I've been I've had a more polarizing defender in recent memory. I can't name off the top of my head, but a guy that's like maybe along the lines of Janoris Jenkins, maybe. But McKinney like didn't miss a snap last season, right? And played really well. Had a bunch of picks. But there were. I mean, you cannot ignore the fact that there were a handful of games where we questioned his motivation, his desire, his toughness. You know, his willingness to get dirty, you know, like just not tackling. This deal is reminiscent of the Landon Collins ordeal, where it's like, we're not going to pay Landon Collins that much money. We cannot pay him that much money. And then he goes and signs a big deal with the Commanders and is like, he did not play up to that contract at all. And the Athletic also had an article about how like safeties are going the way of the running back, where it's like you're seeing all these big contracts handed out to safeties a couple of years ago, and they're all getting cut and released and traded or whatever. So you just don't pay a safety that much money. Saquon was a different story. I think he was worth the money. McKinney, no, is not worth that kind of money. Definitely not. For sure not. So, and maybe he'll make me eat my words, but I guarantee. So he'll have a good first year for sure. And then the second year, third year, and fourth year, you'll see worse. And by the end of the contract, you're going to be like, oh, baby, really took a hit on that. So who do we get to fill in the void left by one Xavier McKinney? Defensive back Jalen Mills. He signed a 1-year contract. is for the veteran salary benefit. So it's a league minimum with a reduced cap hit. You know, he was a 7th round pick in 2016, played in 106 regular season games and 4 postseason games across 8 seasons with the Eagles and Patriots. Career-wise, 400 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 7 QB hits, 7 picks, with 1 returned for a touchdown, 53 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. 6'2" hundo. Played a key role in the Eagles' 2017 Super Bowl run. Had a huge year then. This is, to me, the screams of like, we need veteran presence in the secondary, knowing that Adoree Jackson's not coming back. And maybe this is the guy to provide that. I gotta look at his stats. Give me those stats. Sexy stats. Yeah, 2017 was his best year, 7 AV. And then 2021 with the Pats, he had a 6 AV. So, you know, he's, with the exception of 2022, he's had at least 15. Oh, no, that's wrong. He only had 8 starts for New England this past year. The 4 approximate value. So it feels like he's not necessarily a depth piece, but just he's not going to be your starter. He's going to be maybe Pinnock and Belton are your 2 guys, right? Your 2 starters, and then you have Mills kind of hanging out and causing a motherfucking ruckus. You know, just being that little annoying gnat that's just like ball hawking all over the place. So yeah, that's free agency. How does that impact the draft? Well, I really don't think we're gonna select a quarterback in the 1st or 2nd round now. It really does feel like we're gonna, like, because I mean, what do you have to offer? Like, I just cannot see trading the farm for Caleb Williams. I just can't see it. I think, you know, you have other options that are gonna lift your team up significantly more than if you just draft. And you know, I could be completely fucking wrong about that, but I think a lot of people think that like the draft is not the answer, but a lot of people think the draft is a cure-all, and that if you are projected to be a number 2 pick, that you're going to be, you know, a perennial Super Bowl, Pro Bowl, All-Pro quarterback. How many fucking guys? I mean, just go through the ranks. Like, how many guys have really paid off? And then you look at the guys that, like, you know, I don't know. Like, just don't get your hopes up too much. I don't know. I don't know if he has enough draft capital. And now that one of the 2nd rounders is gone, I feel less confident in drafting a quarterback in the 2nd round. And I really like the idea of selecting a wide receiver at this point. I really like the idea of it. And if Marvin Harrison Jr. is not available, like, I guess there was a vote amongst the staff of, I don't know who, The Athletic maybe, where they all voted for who would be this number 6 pick, and Harrison got the most votes with Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, and Joe Alt and Sean Latham. No, not Sean Latham. Latham is the last name. I think it's a offensive lineman for Bama. Each got a vote. Oh, NFL executives. 4 of the 6 execs had the Giants selecting receiver, but there wasn't strong conviction regarding which receiver would be the choice. You know, Harrison could go to the Cardinals at number 4, which would leave Odunze for the Giants at 6. Neighbors has more speed, while Odunze is more possession, big, strong, physical. They might go with Odunze just because they took the speed guy of Tennessee last year, and this would be a good compliment. I don't hate that. I also listened to like a interview with Malik Neighbors, and that dude is cocky as fuck. And honestly, it sounded like he wanted was not too intrigued by the idea of being with the Giants. He's just like, yeah, we had a talk. It wasn't bad. It's like, okay, great. And, you know, there's so many goddamn smoke screens. So I wouldn't be shocked if, like, you know, Dable or Shane talked to him and said, hey, please play this down, because we want to play this the right way. We don't want anyone to know that we're like really into you. So don't tell anyone we're really into you, so that you can follow us. But my God, Neighbors, Slayton, and Hyatt, and Wandale in the same field. I know people have their qualms, I mean, about the Giants wide receivers, but the whole bugaboo that really was bringing that core down for a long time was their lack of separation. But I'm pretty sure they stepped it up last year and they had a lot more separation. And it was just a matter of like the fucking protection wasn't there. The guy didn't have the time to see the separation. And when they gave Tyrod Taylor and Tommy DeVito time, the separation was there. They were able to make the throws. I'm telling you. So, if you are the Giants and JJ McCarthy is there, I think you have to take him, one exec said. It doesn't mean they will do it. They desperately need offensive line. Let's just give them Joe Alt. I could see them saying, if Jones doesn't work this year, we will have another top 10 pick next year and worry about it then. And I had that same kind of train of thought, but at the same time, it's like, isn't this the better class? Like, I think this is considered one of the best QB classes. I think I could be wrong about that, but, and I don't know what the fuck to think about JJ McCarthy. Is he another Tom Brady? A guy that like didn't really hit the heights of fame and fortune at Michigan, but then comes into the NFL and like has the same kind of work ethic and is able to excel. I don't know. Would I be upset if they took JJ McCarthy in the second round? Maybe not, but I just feel like you just have quarterback. I don't know. It just feels like there are other positions. Like, okay, I think you have your center now, John Michael Schmitz. You have your guards and you have your tackles, I think. But so now it's there the pressure to go out there and draft a Joe Alt or the dude from Penn State, Falashawana, whatever his name is not as high. It's like, all right, that takes a little bit of the pressure off of us to take it in the first round or to do that and maybe just take a look at the later rounds, third, fourth, fifth, to go after like another tackle, depth at guard or tackle. But wide receiver, yeah. My God, that group got a lot of shit, but like Wan'Dale came on pretty strong towards the end. Slayton, I still think I like the dude, and I think he can make plays, big plays. Same with Hyatt, big play potential. So you had a fourth. A guy that Odunze is very intriguing. 6'3", 217. He's number 7th overall on the big board and the 3rd top wide receiver. He can secure catches in crowded areas, create explosive plays downfield, and pass catching instincts and competitive focus to be a high-end NFL starter. So I like that. But then there's the news about Darren Waller, like considering retirement. It's like, oh my God, dude. That trade now looks not so great. It's like, I don't think anyone won that trade at this point. I guess we did slightly, maybe. But the fact that he's considering retirement is not, I mean, let's see how that panned out. I mean, for Michael Strahan, he was considering retirement and they went to the Super Bowl and won. And then Tiki Barber was considering retirement and then actually did retire. And then the Giants went to the Super Bowl and won. So I don't know. Maybe it's a good omen. I don't know. I think I'll hang it up. And they're like, no, come on. We got a chance. I don't think so. I think he's going to be another season of like he shows like a flash here or there in a game or two and then is hurt for most of the season. So am I opposed to drafting Brock Bowers at number 6, tight end? Bowers is more of an offensive weapon than a traditional tight end. Got some offensive attributes that may be hard to pass on. And with Waller being on the fence, do you have enough confidence? I think this is also a very deep wide receiver class as well. So there's that, It's like, do we feel like we can get maybe we get a wide receiver with a 2nd round pick, but this is like the best tight end in the draft, ranked 5th on the big board overall. I would not hate that move. I wouldn't hate it. Some other guys that are in consideration for the pick at 6, Terrion Arnold, cornerback out of Alabama. Yeah, I do think that cornerback has not necessarily been addressed yet. And considering that we're losing Adoree, Darnay, feels like that needs to be a big time priority on the draft, which I feel like we say that every fucking year. Corner. And it's not like they haven't tried. I mean, they have drafted corners almost every year, and not a lot of them are panning out. So I don't know. Cordell Flott, Hawkins, Trey Hawkins, it's just like, come on, someone step up. Dallas Turner, edge rusher from Alabama, 6'4", 242. Top edge rusher in the draft. I don't see that. I mean, with the Burns trade, I don't see that happening, right? That's definitely off the table. J.C. Latham, offensive tackle from Alabama, 6'6", 335. Third top offensive tackle. Again, I think with the writings on the wall, when you sign a Luminor and you have Evan Neal, that's kind of like, there's your two guys for tackle. So I don't think they go tackle. And maybe they double down on guard. They're like, Elmanor we feel more confident in Elmanor as right tackle. We'll try and get Evan Neal to play right guard, but let's also draft a right guard in case Evan Neal is a absolute disaster. And then there are the guys that are unlikely to be there at 6, Caleb Williams, Drake May. They're saying Harrison, Neighbors, and Daniels, probably not there. So, but as far as Neighbors goes, tantalizing speed, bigger frame, 6'2" hundo, and definitely fun to think about. But I get the vibe that either this is like an incredible genius troll smokescreen, or like I just don't see him landing with us. And then they have a couple players that it would make more sense if we trade back, which the trade back I'm not opposed to. Don't reach. And if you feel like you can get a guy later on, trade back. I'm all for it. I think they will benefit more from a trade back than they would, if I don't know how this is possible, but if you have Williams, May, Daniels off the board, Neighbors, Odunze off the board. Who is the third receiver? Is there a third one? Did I miss it? Yeah. Harrison, Neighbors, Odunze. So I just don't see. Maybe there is not, unless Daniels does not go. That's going to be the big decision. Like if Daniels does not go 3, does he fall to us at 6, and do you take him? I just don't see it. I don't see taking that. I really do still think, Rich Eisen saying that Daniel Jones is absolutely done in New York. Get out of here, dude. Just go take a long stroll. Short pier. Absolutely done in New York. Like that. I feel like he said that to get clicks and views, and it's just like, do you really believe that, dude? That was the hullabaloo at the combine, was that Daniel Jones is absolutely done. I just don't believe it. And yeah, people are pointing to like drafting Eli Manning when you just signed Kurt Warner, or you move on from Kerry Collins after one injury he missed 12 games, I think, a whole slew of games in 2003 due to injury. And so now you're just going to move on from him, and then you're going to draft. And it's like, I don't think that's the same. And I know we made the case of like, okay, Jalen Hurts is drafted after you give a big contract to Wentz. Okay. Love is drafted when you already have Aaron Rodgers. Okay. Just different. I don't know. It feels different. So I wouldn't be opposed to a trade back. I don't know what situation that would happen, because it's hard. For me, it would be hard to pass on one of the top 3 receivers. And then that leaves you with, well, then if the top 3 receivers go before you, that means Daniels has to be available. So do you take Daniels or trade back? And if you're putting me on the spot and you got a firearm to the old bean, I think I'm going to say trade back. And that is why I am not likable, relatable, or popular. And my texts in the group text get severely ignored or put down. Brian Thomas Jr., 6'4", 205 from LSU, is the number 4 wide receiver, number 14th overall on the big board. That could be interesting. The Broncos or Raiders might be looking to move up from their 12 or 13 slots, and could be trading partners with the Giants. So that could be something to consider, I guess. Former basketball recruit with unique body movements for his size. Kinky. FBS best, 17 touchdowns in 2023. The most by a Power 5 receiver since Heisman winner Devontae Smith. That son of a bitch. Troy Fontenot, a guard. Washington Huskies, 6'4", 319. Again, I don't think you would trade back to select a guard with your first pick, would you? He's the top guard in the draft. Oh boy. To be a fly on the wall in that fucking war room. God, how much money would you have to pay? Sign an NDA, encrypt that shit. Talise Fuaga, offensive tackle, Oregon State, 6'5", 332, fourth overall tackle. Meh. Olu Fashanu. Okay, so this is the Penn State guy, 6'6", 321. He's the second best tackle overall. I just, I don't think it's going to happen. Quinion Mitchell, a corner from Toledo, 6'1", 199, 11th on the big board, number 2 corner overall. I don't hate that. As much as we all want a wide receiver 1, and the opportunity will most likely present itself at 6, maybe he'll trade up in the second round to get a corner. I wouldn't hate that because we desperately need a fucking corner opposite Deontay Banks. I mean, I like Nick McLeod, but it would be nice to, like, I don't know if I want to put all my chips. I don't know if I want to put all my chips on his number. JJ McCarthy, like I talked about, is the 4th ranked top quarterback in the draft, 24th overall on the big board. 27-1 as a starter with a national championship. Yeah, I don't think where would they trade back to? Not that deep to get McCarthy. I don't know. Tyler Guyton, Oklahoma Sooners tackle, 6'7", 328. Byron Murphy, the second defensive tackle, 6'1", 308. Defensive tackle is also an interesting position to be in as well because you lose A'Shawn Robinson. You have Nacho, but is Nacho did he do anything really that special? And you do have DJ Davidson, who, when he's healthy and on the field, can be a nice contributor. I wouldn't say he's he's really going to make the leap to the next level, but I also don't think he's like a piece of shit. I don't think they're going to go edge rusher. Keon Coleman, wide receiver, Florida State, 6'4", 215, is the 5th ranked wide receiver overall, 28th on the big board. Size, he's got the size, can overpower defenders. Big play opportunities. I like the idea of a big physical receiver. If they decide to move on from Hodgins or they feel like Hodgins, they'll bring Hodgins back, but he's not the guy. It's just another big body to have. Keon Coleman's an interesting prospect. But then again, this is if you trade back. Because if you don't trade back, why wouldn't you just take Odunze? Chop Robinson an edge. Nope. And then other quarterbacks to consider: Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., Spencer Rattler. I'm a hard no on Spencer Rattler. And it's for a stupid reason. I saw a video of him and I was just like, you arrogant son of a bitch. It's like, I can't get behind you. I don't care how many games you win. So I was like, nah, I'm all right with that. Penix Jr., I think I've said it before, but the injury history is really scary. But he does have a fucking arm and a half. So that is intriguing. And then Bo Nix. I mean, Bo Nix and Penix are both older, on the older side. They're like 24. It feels like they're 34 at this point. I feel like I've heard Bo Nix's name since the dawn of time. Penix is the roll of the dice. I wouldn't hate Bo Nix in the second round, maybe. I don't know. We have not had a 1,000-yard receiver since 2018. Oh, boy. So, yeah, that's the draft. I mean, in terms of the second round, we still have that second round pick from the Seahawks for Leonard Williams. They have Javon Bullard, safety from Georgia, and I like it. I like it a lot. But you do have Pinnock and Belton, and you just signed Jalen Mills. So honestly, I mean, if you went corner in the first round, I think you would go safety in the second. I can't see them going safety in the second when you still have corner being such a glaring hole in the defense. But that's the episode. All Giants, baby. Let's go Big Blue. I don't think I'm going to probably do another Giants episode. I mean, I guess if there are more big signings, it feels like most of the big signings are over and done with, even though the free agency hasn't officially started. It feels like all the big moves are donezo, and there's just a few moves that they could potentially make, given that the cap space is where it is. There's talk about restructuring Dexter Lawrence's contract, Andrew Thomas's contract, that might free up some space. Like they definitely need to free up space considering how much money they invested in Runyon and Burns alone. And then you have all the other signings. So it feels like there can't be many more big free agent signings. And then the draft is end of April. And we're kind of mid-March right now. So I feel like you probably won't hear a lot from me about the Giants the next couple of weeks as we prepare for the Mets to open their season. I haven't watched a single fucking lick of Mets baseball in spring training. I can't bring myself to do it. I can't. It's just like training camp and preseason, getting your hopes up just to be dashed to a million bits. So yeah, what's coming up next? I have most anticipated sequels, spinoffs, movies of 2024. I understand we are about 3 months into the year, so it's kind of weird and wild, but I think there are a lot of great titles on the list, so I'll react to that. Got some life updates. I'm going to take a trip down to, I'm meeting my girlfriend's friends, some more friends this weekend, which should be interesting. These are two of her best friends. So it's like the heat is on. And then a trip to Key West. So you most likely will not get a show, I don't think, the last week in March. Because that's spring break for my daughter. She's going to be with her mom the whole week. I'm going to be in Key West doing all kinds of fun things in the sun. And also when the sun goes down. Hey, so that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we'll talk to you soon, man. Hey, it's okay. I'll talk to you soon. Swear to God. Swear to God. Adios, muchachos.